In life, there must be balance, and Kaizer Chiefs is trying to do exactly that. And in this video, we are going to talk about how Kaizer Chiefs are trying to achieve that goal. Hello and welcome to Coast Nation Fan TV. I am Pilo, I am your host.
And this is where fans meet and talk about Kaizer Chiefs.
Amakhosi Football Club.
2 days ago, we talked about how Sekgota and the fact that he might be leaving Kaizer Chiefs on a loan. It turns out that's no longer the case, but what might happen is actually even better than just living on a loan. That is monetarily, because Kaizer Chiefs might be selling Sekgota to Stellenbosch FC, which is something that makes sense, right? Because if you think about it, Stellenbosch has just sold Junior Mendieta to Mamelodi Sundowns. Yes, I know before people go to the comments and say, but Mendieta plays as a 10, but they also did play Mendieta as a winger. So if you think about it, Mendieta going to Sundowns has opened a space that needs to be replaced, right? So now Mendieta is going there to fill that space, not to replace. He's the one who's being replaced, but his space is being filled. Now, there is another thing that is concerning the situation, and it's this. There is a team in Belgium that is interested in Sekgota. I looked at that and I said, there goes the media again. Because this usually happens with the Kaizer Chiefs when we want players from other teams. Uguti, they will say, oh no, there is a team abroad that wants the player that the Kaizer Chiefs wants. Only to find Uguti they are just talking about a Super Sport or a Sundowns. And the player ends up going to Mamelodi Sundowns. In this case though, I thought about it and I thought to myself, that's redundant. I thought to myself, yes, there might be a team that wants him abroad because Sekgota has played abroad. And what I've learned with football, by the way, which is just another side note while we're talking about this, is the fact that the players who go abroad, it's not just because of how good they are. Yes, that's part of it, because, well, it's if you're good, then teams abroad will scout you. But what I've also found is the fact that if a player has a good agent, then that player or that agent is most likely going to find that player more teams abroad. Take for example a player like Siyanda Xulu. Siyanda Xulu udlala kuMaccabi Tel Aviv. The next thing you know, what's the name of this country? I even forgot. But he keeps on staying abroad somehow, even though he keeps on staying 2 years going a team, 3 years going a team. But he's moving, and you see Guti, he's actually enjoying his time abroad. And that's also down to agent, being able to find ama teams for his agent. And in this case, I feel like it might be true for Sekgota as well. Uguti, he might be wanted in Belgium. I don't know how true that is, but I'm just saying, Uguti, it might be true. What does this mean though? Because now, if you add the element Yoguti, Gune Belgium, then Gune Stellenbosch, what might end up happening is that the Kaizer Chiefs might end up saying, oh, you are facing competition and it's a bidding war. And we know, Guti, in the Bazama bidding war, some teams don't like entertaining those. But knowing the fact that the Chiefs and Stellenbosch have a good relationship, they can actually say, hey, we say Guti in Sekgota. So we are going to give you we are going to give us Usibongiseni. We are going to give you Sekgota. Usibongiseni is coming to his last year of the contract in any case. So give us Usibongiseni. We'll give you Sekgota and add some money on top of that. And in that way, it will sweeten the deal and it will be kind of easy for the Chiefs to negotiate with Stellenbosch. Because Vele, as far as I know from what I've read, go far post and whatnot, Uguti, Chiefs, what they've done, is that they have actually inquired and they've actually sent a bid, reportedly, with Stellenbosch, and the first bid was rejected, and then they were preparing the second bid and they sent it, but so far nothing has been said, which makes me assume, Uguti, then that bid has not been accepted, or Kaizer Chiefs is once again dribbling us, and then Usibongiseni when he comes back from Kosafa, because they are currently playing Kosafa Cup, then he will come back and be announced as a Kaizer Chiefs player. So you'll never know. But I am hoping Uguti, with this new reported interest on Sekgota, that might actually sweeten the pot. We're going to talk about another winger right now. But before I do that, please do make sure to like the video, because it helps me to reach more people like you, and also subscribe, because that means you like the content and it makes me feel good about myself for making this content. Anyways, let's move on and talk about who else. Khama Billiat, obviously. What is happening with Khama Billiat is what we had on the weekend. Ukuthi Chiefs have made an offer and then hasn't responded. But also said Uguti they are waiting for him because blah blah blah. They are expecting him to come to the camp and whatnot, but he hasn't come to the camp. And we saw something interesting. We camp. Upotsane, who was signed at the weekend. Remember what I said to you? I said that Upotsane might also have been signed because of the fact that Billiat is leaving and the Chiefs decided, you know what, this thing Billiat is not working, so let's replace him because we don't want the situation Yoguti. We release a player or we don't extend the player's contract and it ends up biting us in the behind, because what ends up happening then, you lose a player, then you don't replace them, then that's not good news. So in this case, it seems like Upotsan has come in to replace Billiat, because if you saw the video that was released by Kaizer Chiefs earlier today, what's the date today? The day today, angazi date yanamhlanje 10 or 11. So what happened is that Chiefs posted a video of the players training. What I did see was set ukuthi Upotsane is still new, so he kind of looked lost because, you know, maybe he's still shy, he's still new. But that's not the main point of the story. The main point of the story, I looked at his track pants and they had the number 11. It can't be 16. I mean, it can't be 17 because 17 is going to be worn by Castillo, and there's no other number that I think that looks like that, because U12 now U2 ukevegile, so it looks like which is number 11 will be taken by Upotsane. Vele, that's the number that he wore even before coming to Kaizer Chiefs Royal AM. So with that being said, I think indaba Khama Billiat, at this point we can just say it's over. Thank you Khama for serving in Kaizer Chiefs. No mama injury phazamisile career yakho, but it looks more likely like redundant again. It looks like Khama Billiat is definitely no longer going to be playing for Kaizer Chiefs come next season. That's interesting to me, and also it's something that I feel like Chiefs, once again, I will say this and I will say it again, Uguti, I feel like Chiefs should have just kept quiet and then decided to go, no, this thing is not working. As such, we are not going to continue engaging with Khama, and we're going to announce Uguti we're not extending a contract yake because we couldn't agree, and end it there. Because now it's ending with Khama looking like a bad person, because yes, not responding to those things, to the calls and all that stuff. It's also kind of childish or unprofessional in a way, but also knowing Chiefs, I cannot spare them Uguti. They probably have been saying the same thing, because if you look at Chiefs and all the contracts that have failed, contract talks, our Blom being one of the recent ones, end of last year, you can see Uguti vele nabi negotiation yabo, it can be blamed. So I won't just say Khama sucks, but I will say I don't like it when isn't old players end like this, because what ends up happening is that there are very few players who end up being regarded as Kaizer Chiefs legend. Take George Maluleka, for example. I believe Uguti served the Kaizer Chiefs very well, but because of the fact that he ended up going to Sundowns or signing a pre-contract with the Sundowns, once again, because the Chiefs were taking way too long to offer him what he wanted, he ended up signing a pre-contract with the Sundowns, and then he ended up being the one who looked bad because the Chiefs froze him out, and then people were like, Malulegu's betrayal. No, he didn't betray anyone. He was still a Kaizer Chiefs player. He was still going to deliver for Kaizer Chiefs, but we decided to freeze out a player who was potentially going to help us win something, because league, if we do Malulega, I strongly believe Uguti, it wasn't going to go to the last day and then we lost it on the last day. But if we had Umalulega, and then in the other games, the creativity, Khama free kick, corner kicks that was going to take, were going to help us massively. But once again, Kaizer Chiefs failed to offer a player who was very key to us a contract, and then it ended bad for him. Unjabulo Plum also, we ended up selling him for 5 million. Yes, Plum could have left with Kaizer Chiefs at any other time, but he could have left for much more money. But since we didn't sort out in the contract, we ended up selling him for 5 million. In this case, Khama will not complain that much, because Kwaena was injury prone, and the other issues, you would value 800,000 for him sitting on the bench wasn't like a good investment. So that one I won't complain about. But I will say, Uguti, it does concern me, Uguti, in the other aspects, the negotiations and how Chiefs does their negotiations, it's concerning because they don't really do it that well. What do you think about Sekgota going to Stellenbosch, and do you actually think we can use some sort of a swap deal and the other things that I talked about as well. Let me know down on the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, remember, equals
Alphela umoya.